Hello and welcome to week 12 of Ad and PR Account Management J364 Online and Concierge Michael Bedker. So, pretty short one this week. Just wanted to kind of walk you through the agenda. So, we'll start with that. Just some reminders. Talk about the last episode we did for, I believe it was discussion post number 5. MC squared versus Interspin. If you remember, that was the Bliss review that you guys did. So, we'll talk about that a little bit. And then just a little bit of a reminder and kind of how-tos and to-dos for the book report coming up on Friday at midnight, which is due. And then last thing here is just introduce the upcoming discussion post number 7. So that'll be it for today. You guys are encouraged to read chapter 5 in our book this week. We will be discussing points in that book, but basically what it is the day in the life of an account manager. And discussion post number 7 is intrinsically linked with that content. So I encourage you guys to first read that chapter. We won't be doing much lecture on that chapter because it's more about kind of a journal, as it were, of what it's like to work as an account person. So I'd like you to read that and then tackle discussion post number 7. Of course, we also have our upcoming book reports due. So in conjunction with that, you'll want to kind of have that done as well. So that's kind of it for this. We'll talk about more. Here's a snapshot of our updated syllabus for the semester. Week 11 obviously had a few things due, so I know you guys are hard at work on that right now. It's Sunday here. Brand update number 4 is due. That was due on Thursday the 2nd, and discussion post 5, assignment 4, and discussion post 6 were all due on Sunday, this Sunday at 11:59 p.m. So now obviously week 12 is a little bit different now. Week 11 was about working with creatives and clients together, and we tied that together with some of the discussion posts for that. Week 12 is more about what it's like to be an account manager. Like I said, chapter 5 does demonstrate how to best look at the situation. And the nice thing about the pitch episode we're going to be watching this week, which features 2 agencies, Digo is one, and another one called Womankind, compete for the business for C Wonder, which is a retail brand. So enjoy that one there, but I think that does a really nice job. If we talk about chapter 5, chapter 5 is all about a week in the life of an account manager. You'll get a good feel for what that's like by watching that particular episode of the pitch. So let's see what else. Anything else here? No, I think that's it. So read chapter 5. Work on those book reports, and let's talk about the pitch a little bit more here. So, read all your. I actually got the grades all done in there, and I think we're still working on that. But for most of you guys, should have that done soon. But I thought this was a great episode here. I love the client actually. A lot of times you get kind of a less than intelligent client, and this guy here for Bliss, and I think in his team were certainly smart about their marketing and advertising. So really, first of all, I want to say I really like that guy a lot. You don't get clients that are that smart about their brands. So he asked the right questions, I thought, and a lot of times he kind of led them by the nose. In both cases, both teams, he asked them questions about insights, and you guys keenly kind of were aware of which team did better. By and large, folks thought that Interspin did a pretty good job with that. Both teams actually had a good feel for the insight, which is, of course, fuzz on a woman's face and kind of the social stigmatism around talking about that. So I'd say that both teams did a pretty good job there. The second question there, what could the agencies have done differently, better, or to build equity into their insights about facial hair? Again, I thought both teams did pretty well. The difference maker was, I think, having on Interspin's side, having somebody who has been doing this for quite a long time, and I'm talking about the gentleman, I forgot his name, but who was well-groomed to begin with, who would be probably a client for Bliss, but he really kind of got right to the heart of the situation rather quickly. So folks like that are worth their weight in gold. There's if you remember the waste management one as well, the gentleman from the ad store had the same sort of skill set. So these old school ad people, generally, it's men and women, a lot of times are really hardwired to get to the chase without much need. Now, obviously, we want to still do the creative brief and all those things, but having folks who think quickly and like have well-treaded pathways to the creative insights are invaluable to any team. Communication planning works best when it informs or adds the creative insight process for the brand. Which agency do you think did a better job of creating key connections with the brand through their creative work? And I think a lot of you guys felt that Interspin did a better job there. Excuse me. And lastly, the owners of Interspin included Lisa, A lot of you guys felt that Lisa did a really nice job stepping in there, and obviously, I would say that that's really helped Interspin win the account. One of the challenges was obviously it's a women's company, women's product, and Interspin, the two principals were male. Versus what MC Square brought, which was a lot of female power. So I think that they balanced it out really well. So it was a smart decision to bring her, and I thought she knocked it out of the park. I thought she stepped up in the right moments. She was prepared, and she answered the questions. Now, there's some editing involved here, but I would say generally Lisa did a really nice job. So bravo to her, and hopefully you guys saw yourself in that role. And that's one of the questions I asked. Now, some of you guys said, gosh, I would probably not do so well in that situation. I would encourage you guys to think differently about that. And obviously this class is a good way to start practicing kind of your skill set there. So look at your book report and your final presentations as practice for those moments when you'll find yourself in the pitch, as it were. So confidence, right? Confidence breeds confidence, and the only way to get there is through practice. So toward that end, I would say practice, practice, practice. Okay, some quick book report reminders. Now, obviously, first and foremost, this is due on Friday at midnight. Again, so post your work to the threads you've been assigned. And wanted to mention, if I haven't done so already, I think I have, but obviously, the audience requirement normally would have been to have you have 4 folks in your audience. And of course, in the beginning, you want to kind of show your audience and then make your presentation, and then again at the end, you show your audience. Something we do in Speech 110 for online, that course online. So you want to follow that. So same rules. Now, that said, I would say if you don't have enough people, I understand completely. I'm not going to force you guys to bring anybody in from the outside right now, especially given our shelter-in-place commandments. So we want to stay away from that, but do the best you can there. I'd like you to cobble together any kind of an audience you can find. Maybe it's your cat houseplant, maybe your parents or somebody else you're kind of in lockdown with. But either way, I'm not going to hold you to that. You won't get downgraded for having less than 4 people. So hope that's clear. But by all means, don't bring anybody in from the outside until further notice, obviously. Okay, so I mentioned here before, now we talked about Lisa here in the pitch and how she did with Interspin. I thought she did a great job here. This really ties back to some basics here. She presented herself intelligently, she made good eye contact. And obviously, when you guys make your pitches and presentations, Speech 110 is a great place to start thinking about how I do that, or how you do that. So the things we watch for in Speech 110 beyond the basics, we look for extemporaneous speaking. So in other words, what I'm doing now is kind of riffing with you guys here. And if I did this 10 times, this recording, it'd be 10 different ways. But basically, I would still talk about the same thing. So I'm looking at bullet points and speaking to you extemporaneously. That's what you want to do as well. And that's where practice comes in, right? So the more you practice it, the easier it becomes, the easier it flows, and it sounds conversational. So that's the first thing, especially when you're pitching creative. It's important to cultivate that. Now, I know it's not easy. People get tied to their note cards, right? And they like to read from a script. But that is an absolute 100% no-no in advertising, right? You've got to embrace the material, and you've got to know it like the back of your hand. Now, some people memorize stuff, and I that seems like overkill to me. I prefer just having a deep knowledge of a point or points I'm going to make, and then spending time getting comfortable with talking around those points versus memorizing things verbatim. Other things, obviously, tactical stuff, keep feet still, make good eye contact, and face the audience are all things I'll be looking for. And again, can you make an engaging pitch, right? And obviously, in this case here, you're taking the best parts of the book you've been reading and articulating it back to your audience. So educate us and entertain us as well. That's the other piece as well. But we're looking to get some new information from you there. But looking at Speech 110 basics and remembering those things is important. So cultivate an intelligent conversation as much as possible. Now, obviously, we're not doing this face-to-face, so you're not going to have any feedback or questions that are going to come out except digitally. You're going to present stuff that is intriguing, that sparks conversation, because you'll be asked to communicate through the threads you guys have been assigned. Don't read from the slides, obviously, right? Think through your transitions, and again, practice. And the transitions are super important. How do you go from one thought or idea to another? The best account folks think those through. So if you watch good presentations, you'll see that there's a planful sort of approach from one slide or one set of ideas to another. So always think those through, right? And that, again, that's Speech 110. Be confident, enthusiastic about the brand, product, or service you've selected, or in this case here, the book you've picked. And obviously, if you pick something that's related to marketing, something you can certainly be passionate about. Do your homework, of course. Last thing, do Friday at 11:59. That's the book report. So good luck with that. I'm looking forward to reviewing kind of the work you guys put into this project here. All right, so once that's done, obviously the book report's due on Friday, and then you have till Sunday to give feedback within your threads, which is kind of tip and tail what I'm looking for the book reports. On Sunday also, I'm asking you guys to read by Sunday, read chapter 5, and then watch season 1, episode 7 of The Pitch, which I will record later on tonight and publish. But that's an excellent example, I think, of what we talk about in chapter 5, which is essentially the book talks about how they liken it to a roller coaster ride. And in this case here in the book, they talk about what it's like to be an account person for a week, 50 hours as an account person, right? So really what we get with the pitch episodes is exactly that, right? You get 2 agencies and they have a week to make the pitch and to win the business. So really a nice one-to-one relationship there. So some questions I'll be asking you guys to answer once you watch. And by the way, this is a really good one featuring Digo and Womankind. In competition for a brand called C Wonder. These are 2 New York agencies, and they're looking to win the business for C Wonder with a challenging client, whereas MC Squared and Interspin had the client for Bliss, who was, I thought, very easy to work with. You'll find, I think, this client for C Wonder, Chris Birch, to be a bit of a challenge. So anyway, answer the questions, watch that, enjoy that episode as well. And that's kind of it. Last thing I want to leave you guys with here is the power of positive thinking. I like this quote here. The greatest discovery of our generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind. As you think, so shall you be. So think and do, right? So really the power of the mind is incredible. And, a lot of folks tend to get depressed and stuck in a hole. The way we think about things, we have the opportunity to take a different stance or a different approach to thinking about something. Now, for example, COVID crisis, right? Something that's out of our control. We can't do much there, but we can control things, our day-to-day activities like washing our hands and social distancing and, taking care of the loved ones that we're with, that kind of thing. We can also, change our attitude by thinking differently about something. So I encourage you guys to have a more confident stance and positive stance in spite of everything. So that's my 2 cents today. Let me know if you have any questions on anything for this course this week, and good luck with everything. We'll talk to you soon.